So I just sent it live.
Hey man, let me out of this car.
Looking like a baddie, I show up and make them stop. Wanna know my name so badly, cause I run this whole block. Flip my hair, move my head, show the world I'm royalty. When I walk by, they be taking bows, cause they know I'm the queen, yeah. Move it, groove it. They wanna know just how I do it when I do it. I got that magic touch, it's a rush coursing through my veins. When I show up, everybody knows that I'ma change the game.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
Let's get ready to rumble!
How is everybody? Anybody
What's going on? I can hear you.
Good. Because I don't hear any of you. This is not good. Joe, I can't read lips, man.
You can't hear me.
Yeah, I do now.
How about now?
Yeah,
Hello. Testing. Testing.
I got you. It was me I couldn't hear.
So are we live now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Do you hear me?
Yes.
Good.
This feels weird without Jimmy being here.
Yeah, it does. He was a little under the weather, but that just means that we can turn up and not get in trouble. Man, this is going to be a challenge, man. You know what? I hear myself with a great delay in the earbuds. Probably don't have time to fix it. I'll just concentrate. So,
You're breaking out some notes over there.
yeah, I got notes.
Oh, Lord.
Hey, let me ask you, do you have any feedback from me? Hear me okay?
I can hear you.
No feedback? Good. We'll try it this way. Let's see.
I'm going to have to figure out how to get on here live where I can see everybody's comments because
Yeah, there's
every time I get them here.
some way on your you can rotate your phone maybe and see them. Or I know if you just get you got a really nice computer, don't you?
Yeah.
You can get on that.
I don't have the camera.
Oh, yeah. I'm
gonna get me a nice camera. I'm gonna get a nice camera for it and do like a little, maybe like a drop cloth, behind me with my logo or something.
Yeah. So I used my like $40 webcam for 2 years. I just bought a little nicer webcam, still a webcam. I ain't of the camera quality yet. As you can see, watch when I hold my hands, I kind of turn green. Yeah. So I need a better camera. It'd be nice. But yeah, you don't take much. $70, $80 webcam, and man, you're in business. Software's free.
Yeah, because staring at this phone just ain't cutting it. I got to get a webcam because I can't see nothing. I got my glasses on and everything, still can't see nothing.
Here, let's see if I can help it. How's that?
Hey,
that better?
That helped.
Right.
Yep.
Cool.
Now I can make sure my face ain't doing weird things,
Yeah.
Well, I'm over here trying to smile.
Before this, and I fight with my gear for 30 minutes to, because it just never does right. And but I didn't do that today, so I have feedback coming from in my earbuds. I'm really not sure why. That's the purpose of the earbuds. I don't get it, but oh well. It is what. So listen. So hey, we're gonna talk about a couple things first, Joe. The last day for you to become a member for this year, our finals are in 2 weeks roundabout. They're the first weekend in October. So let me look at a calendar. How about the 23rd? Well, we'll go ahead and go the 26th of this month is the last day that you'll be able to become a member to participate in our finals. But this is what you need to know. It expires a week later. Our memberships always start and end at finals. So in one way you can think of it that you've been, participating all year without a membership, still got your points if
What's the requirement?
50 points or 5 shows in the class you want to participate in.
Okay.
So I think that's pretty easy to do. For us around here, we have so many shows. It's easy to get that. Some of the other guys, they don't have quite as many, so it's a little bit more of a challenge for them. And some of the new people that we just have come on, that kind of makes it a challenge for them too. But they might just have to wait till next time.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the way it is. Everywhere. You got to have them points and got to be a member.
Yeah. So next year, Joe, we're not going to have points. You just have to have a certain number of shows in the class you want to participate in.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. Oh, we'll still have, but they won't be for that.
I've never really cared for the point system myself, especially, some people just can't, they might go to a show and they might have some bad luck or something, they might place last and not get enough points or whatever the case may be. So, yeah, I think the ones that attend the shows, should get awarded for attending the shows as well, not just placing first place. So I like that idea.
Well, I tell you what, the reason I want to do it is a lot of people, like a lot of orgs, they have 2X, 3X, 4X, and I think I even saw a 7X. I'm not sure. But, man, I'm not really wanting you to come pay me a bunch of money at one show. I want you to pay me a little bit of money all year. I want you to be part of our culture. That's what I want. So that's the reason. Personally, I'd like to make it more shows, but I'm just being, conscientious of, say, some of the areas up north that they don't get to have shows year round like we do, So it might be harder for them to get, more than 5 shows, But that's my goal. I want people to come to the shows. If you don't want to come to the shows, then we're doing something wrong. My thoughts anyway.
Yeah. Well, I've had fun at every Base Wars show I've been to, so.
Yeah, man. We haven't had any problem. We haven't had any problem with any of them. Mm-hmm. We got some new classes coming out, man. Oh, let me tell you another cool thing is I know you've probably seen one of our score sheets. Most all of you have. So you won't be able to see that, but we're doing away with the port calculation. You won't have to calculate your port any longer. So it'll just be cone area of your subs. Reason we're doing that is because some of the ports are oddly shaped, and honestly, I found several people that didn't know the area of their own port because they had somebody else design it, probably, right? And so it just, some of them just getting a challenge to calculate. So
so the classes are going to be based off of cone area instead of port area?
Yeah, but not to be misguided, man. What I did is I went and I just I made those numbers work to where if you were ported, you have you got it just factored in already based on what, in my opinion, is you would unload if you went bigger.
As a designer, I've had a lot of customers hit me up just because of the Base Wars and how they do the, how y'all do the, y'all calculated the port area and then the cone area, and then that's the class, And as a designer, I cringed sometimes because, they wanted to put, X amount of subs, but yet I could only have X amount of port area to work with.
Right.
Or, vice versa. They wanted a lot of port area and, a little bit of cone area. And it was fun doing it, but I really like the cone area a little better myself.
Yeah. I think it's going to make it, well, we're just trying to make it easy for sure. Trying to make it easy for everybody.
But yeah, I think the cone, that's a great idea. I like that.
Yeah, I'm excited about it too. We fight with it pretty regular.
I've always been kind of just blunt honest about my opinions on things. So
Right. Yeah, that's cool.
yeah.
So I tell you something else we're going to have is we're going to have a couple of clamp classes. Yeah. That's new.
That's interesting.
Yeah. We're going to do a stock 5K, right? And an extreme 10K class.
Well, let me ask you something about that, since we just you just said stock 5K.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that the Base Wars big rule book, I'm just kidding.
Right.
Yeah. What would separate something from being stock versus,
Basically,
slightly modified, but still mostly stock? That's something that might get thrown out there.
most every vehicle will be stock.
Okay.
If you fit into the GOAT category, you'll be extreme.
Right. Okay. I understand.
And
So-
I'll write some outline for that, but basically, if you got a little wood roof, you're not extreme.
I agree.
If you have, it just depends on how far it is. And I'm outlining. I'm currently rewriting or writing I'm gonna call it a guidebook because I don't want to call it a rule book. But so we'll outline all that. And I've talked with RP Patel. I know a lot of you probably know him.
Oh, definitely.
He kind of guided me a little bit. Now he is geared towards DB drag, Mecca
Sure.
maybe, but mainly DB drag, and they have a lot of rules about that kind of thing. We're not doing that. We're not going that in depth. So.
Well, that makes it more fun. You ain't got to sit there and worry about every little panel or every little, clip
Right.
or plastic piece or, stuff like that. It gives you a little bit more opportunity to have a little bit more fun, be a little bit more open with your build. And like you said, it's basically, like you said, it's either stock or, extreme.
Right.
So
we're
yeah, I
gonna
totally get that.
Yeah. Whatever we do, we're going to keep it easy. We're going to keep
And
it easy.
something as simple as a 5K clamped class, that'll give a lot of guys potential that couldn't compete against some of the bigger builds, because their build might be more about efficiency,
Well,
than just throwing 20,000 watts, to the system to achieve a 60 when that person can achieve almost a 60 on 5K. So never know. I think that's a great idea.
So we created those clamp classes because we're creating some pro categories, and that's what that is. They're going to be our pro classes. And if you peak above 55 hertz, you're going into one of them.
Why the frequency cap?
Most people that peak at 55 or above, I'm going to say that they are the legit professionals of trying to get a great meter score. Would you agree? You're not riding around with a musical build at 60 hertz, a box tune 60 hertz.
I agree.
Do you think?
I just, there's a lot of cabin mods and things can be done with different vehicles that allow one vehicle to peak at a different frequency than another vehicle as far as the cabin's resonant peak frequency.
Mm-hmm.
And, prime example, my van's 57. I had a S10 that was right at 80 hertz. I have seen some Chevrolets be in the mid 40 hertz. That's just what the cabin's, natural resonant frequency is.
Right.
And the closer you get to that tuning, the louder it's going to be in some cases.
So let me ask you this though. In my experience, and with Base Wars data, if you will, I don't know anybody that like totally chases the meter, the gods of what we do, right? I'm
Yeah,
gonna go
everybody's there
ahead.
to really have a fun time. You know, everybody's
well-
trying to get a better number, but yeah, for the most
Those
part, everybody's
guys
having a good
know
time.
that meter number is coming from a higher frequency, and that's what they go for, right?
I agree. I agree with that. Yeah.
So what we're doing is, if you go above 55, we're going to put you with the people that you want to compete against. I mean, do you really want to compete against a Tahoe at peaking at 42 hertz and he's windy and he's doing,
No.
it's no fun. You just beat the dog crap out of him
Yeah,
on the
because
meter.
if I had a Tahoe and I had a musical build, I wouldn't want to compete against somebody that's burp, peaking in
And
their
vice versa.
higher 50s and some big
Right.
monster burp build. I've never liked that scenario where I had to go against somebody that was more tuned for a daily build. And, technically, I should have been in maybe a pro class, which you're talking about, where they was more of a daily listener, and I was just set on numbers. So
Yeah.
it makes a difference. I sacrifice a lot. I sacrifice a lot of demoing and daily use to have the numbers I have, but that's my choice because I do chase the numbers.
Right,
So
right.
I agree with what you're saying
I
100%.
personally think that those people that chase the number, they are the true, I'm gonna call them the freaking scientists of what we do. They test, they test,
not
they
easy.
test. They're only for that number. They're not riding around bumping to AC/DC. I assure you. Right?
You got that right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Here's one right here. I can't find my cursor, but I think Jason has a CRX.
Where's Jimmy when you need him?
Right. Yeah, I think Jason's got a CRX. I think he's doing a 60 with 215s. I think roundabout. Maybe a little bit more.
So for me personally, you said you're gonna have a 5K
Mm-hmm.
stock class, and then you're gonna have a 10K. What class was that?
Unlimited.
Unlimited.
And
Okay.
Extreme, if you will. What you would know is extreme. We're going to give them cool names. We don't know what. I hadn't picked the names out yet. Need help with that. So send your suggestions. I put Jordan on that. Jordan's usually really good at picking out the names, but he hasn't given the names yet.
Yeah, Jordan is really good with names.
Yeah. Sure enough. So anyway, that's going to be a big change for Base Wars,
That'll be fun. I think that's exciting.
I tell you another change that I wanted to do, but I'm not going to do because I don't want to change very much, at one time. But I wanted to do away with that power factor, right? Because here's a statistic for you that will totally surprise you. I know that it's not the truth, real world, okay? But in Base Wars, every person that we have bumped to another class based on their power would have lost the class they were in originally anyway. Is that not weird?
Yeah, that's just kind of the way it works sometimes.
Yeah. For us, it's been nearly every time.
I haven't seen it so much in Base Wars, but I know it's getting more and more. But I've seen so many extreme demo builds getting built in the last 2 years more than I ever have. Everybody's going with basically a full-on extreme cabin with, doors welded shut with, 2-inch, square tubing all in front of the B pillar.
Mhm.
And, them guys like that, they should be in a whole separate class than somebody that comes up there in a daily that still functions like a daily. Because it just makes it really, it's kind of an leader anyway. They just want to demo something very loud and not destroy the vehicle. They're not what you would call a true extreme build that just chases, like tries to chase 80s or something like that. These are just guys that's wanting to demo loud and don't want to destroy nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I wanted to do away with that power thing as well, based on the data that I looked at, but maybe next year. I just don't want to move too much at one time because I like what we have. I'm just trying to make it easier for everybody and doing away with that port, and that makes me nervous because I really like the way we do it. But
I really like the cone area. I really like using that instead. Because
well, that's where we are now. Hands down, though, it's really just a sleight of hand. I did just move the numbers for the classes to most everybody's ported. The only time that I might be a little bit off with it is if is factoring a fourth order. Those ports vary. They don't really go with the cone, of the cone area.
I mean,
or volume.
I've seen some of them. They're just subs and all open.
Depends on the vehicle. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that makes me a little nervous that I don't screw up about that. But we're gonna try it. We're gonna try it because it'd be easier for people. Man, I know you haven't seen this, but it's a regular occurrence. We're growing a lot. That's the big thing. So we get a lot of new people, and they've just never had to calculate their port area before. And then a lot of them don't listen close. They don't understand that we're talking about area and not volume. So they're overclassing themselves like crazy because they calculate the volume and put that down. It's simple enough to those of us that do it all the time, but for those that don't, it's not that simple. So we're just trying to make it easy. So we're also going to have some more demo classes. I'm going to combine hurricane and cyclone. So it'll go from 0 because nobody really does below 20, just a few people. But it's going to go from 0 to 29 hertz, that class. And then we're creating some music like stunt wall type classes, right?
Right.
There'll be one with a 12 speaker limit. And there'll be some other little caveats, like you can have some in your grill or not. By grill, I don't mean grills on your speakers. I mean grills in your car, the grill in your car. And then one with a 30 speaker limit, and then one with a 60 speaker. All that stuff can be done. And then one for kids, like the little Hot Wheels, kind of thing. And then on these clamp classes, I saw a question about the clamp class. Yeah, we're going to have 2. They are our pro classes, if you will. And there'll be a 5K. I don't know why that keeps going away, y'all. I'm trying to highlight it, but it takes itself off. I'm not doing it. Oh, I don't know. Maybe I did do it. Anyway, we're going to have a 5K stock and a 10K extreme, if you will. And we'll come up with some good names for that. So, and so these last few classes I just called out, they're going to be our demo wars is what we're calling them. Demo wars.
But on the clamp classes, the only thing I've ever been concerned about running a clamp class for myself, especially like the 10K clamp class, is if you got somebody that's got multiple amplifiers. Okay. What would keep somebody from turning one of those amps down a little bit?
If we're not doing it about like what we do now, so if it's got a 10K, it don't matter. It's whatever you clamp. Okay, so if they turn one down, I don't really see that being an advantage because they're not going to clamp as much, right?
Well, that's what I mean. So let me give you an example. If I have 4 amplifiers, you're only going to be able to test. You're only going to be able to probe into one amplifier, correct? What if the other 3 amplifiers are turned up and that one amplifier is turned down a little bit? So I can mimic it. I can mimic it in my van because it wouldn't affect me much. I couldn't do it full tilt because I could blow something doing it like that. But I could turn one amp almost all the way down and let the other 11 amps kind of let them eat kind of thing. And I could show you basically just a couple 100 watts out of that amp versus 2,000 watts out of the other amp.
These are some of the reasons I've never wanted to clamp before. And then also there's a lot of other reasons you can dumb that down too. A lot of other ways you can dumb that down as well. And so that's the reason I've kind of avoided it. But so I think if it ever like really, really mattered, like if it was a competition where we had more than if it was a few people in the class that day,
Right.
I could see me going and throwing the voltmeter on every one of them just to see.
I was
You know?
just something I was throwing out there because I've
You
seen
know,
some
I know,
crazy. I've
Yeah.
heard of some crazy stuff with clamp classes. I've personally seen some crazy stuff with clamp classes, and I've just heard a lot of people complain about certain things that they've seen or heard somebody do and all this stuff. And
Yeah.
I've never been a clamp class
I hate
guy, but I think they're fun.
I hate it for a bunch of reasons. Now, if somebody's like legit about it, I can see the fun in it. How loud can I get, on this much power? I get that. We've always just done it differently. We've always done it. How loud can I get with this amount of cone area? So other like clamp classes is dB per square for dB per watt. We play dB per square inch. We just play a different game, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Understand.
But so I created these classes for our guys that really like to go for the meter. Those guys, they all compete in other orgs that clamp anyway. And so we're just going to give those guys a place to play. That's really just trying to make it fun for everybody. It'll free up our daily Tahoes and stuff like that where they won't get creamed. And it'll give those guys somebody to compete against, that
Yeah.
they really can compete against. That's the goal.
So you said the finals is going to be live broadcasted.
Yep, we're going to do it right here, just like this. Everybody that's running the finals will stream into me, and I will stream out here just like this. And I will be able to do this. Let's say I should have had something set up for fun, but I could have, I'll have like 4 or 5 of them, all their monitors and stuff right here I'm looking at, and I'll be able to switch from one to the other to show to you guys. So if there's somebody running in Lafayette, then, okay, once they're done, somebody's running in Kansas, I can switch it for you and let you see both of them. Now, will I get skilled enough to record that little snippet and then replay that for you? I don't think so. Not by then. Man, everybody works. Jimmy works. Jordan works. Melissa and I could get together on it, but like we've not had a test run yet.
It's gonna be fun.
Guys and after these guys, and they ain't come on board yet. So I just hope we don't wind up looking like a fool on that day.
No, I'm sure it'll work itself out.
What I'll do is, so we will watch on the screen, and they will be texting me names and scores, and I will input them into my term lab, and I will use that screen, the score screen, and let it scroll live all day. So you don't want to pull up there and sandbag, because you don't know who's sitting in Kansas City waiting to that last minute to come up and just do it.
Exactly.
And no reruns after, at like 2 hours before it's over, no reruns, So I can see it getting interesting.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun to do it like that. That way, I like the idea of multiple location finals like that. And I could see, a few concerns with it, but also see how fun that is. I think the fun is what it weighs more than the, few concerns I would have with it. And the only concerns I would have with it as a SPL competitor, a true SPL guy, not just somebody that does it for just demos and stuff for fun. Like I'm a hard hitting competitor, is like, well, what if the meters are different, or what if this, what if that, what if one judge sees this? But for the fun aspect of it, I think it's great. And I think it'll be so close it ain't gonna matter anyway. I mean,
and also there's lots of little caveats that could skew it, like atmospheric pressure.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But
Sure.
at least everybody has a chance to be at the finals in a location that's closer to them instead of having to gather in one
Right.
one area. So I
Yeah.
really like that idea of that. That's just my personal, opinion of it. I think it's great.
I estimate that we saved the competitors 50 grand on our last show by them not having to travel as far and as
I
that's
would
what
guarantee you did. I know how much I have personally spent, and you take just a couple of my teammates, and we would all go to finals. And then between all of us, the gas, the fuel, the hotel, the entry fees, the little knickknacks from here and there, I'm guaranteeing you, thousands of dollars, if
yeah,
not
yeah.
more, saved.
I sat down after last year and I looked at how many people that we had compete and where they would come from, and I just kind of estimated if they would a hotel, gas, that kind of thing.
You know,
And
some
I come
some
up with 50 grand.
some guys can't they don't have a build that they can drive across the country to go to a show. They don't have maybe not they might not have the funds to get it towed somewhere, or they might not have the funds in general to just drive what they have all the way, across the country to go to a show when they can go somewhere a little closer. That makes a difference, in my opinion. I think it helps for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think it'll be good. I just hope that we can pull it off, technically pull it off. I'm worried about that. I have fiber being installed at my house here. Because I'll be taking in about 5 streams, 4 or 5 streams, and then spitting one out. So I was really worried about bandwidth, but I got fiber supposed to be here at 10 in the morning to get me some.
Mr. Big Time with his fiber.
Well, they say that's the fastest thing, man, and maybe a lot of bandwidth. That's what I'm hoping. I just don't want to screw it up. So
I have no options for internet here where I live at, so
really?
I'm just jealous. Yeah, Mississippi.
Yeah.
Yeah, Summit, Mississippi. I don't have fiber wires going down the road.
Right. What
Yeah.
do you have, like cable modem, or what is it? Satellite?
I got AT. It's AT&T, like
Well,
satellite.
They might not have fiber there yet.
I get like 10 megabytes a second download upload speed. My internet's junk.
Wow.
That's all I can
tough.
get. I've tried all the other companies. I've tried multiple people with their phones out here with hotspots and hotspot boxes, and it's just not a good area.
Well, I did a speed test for what I have right now, and I'm getting like 400 megabytes download.
No, I don't even want to.
And like 80 megabytes upload. And I hope the fiber is going to be more than that.
I would be happy to get a solid 10 where I'm at.
Right.
Yeah, it's that bad. Like, I'm on my phone now, and it gets a lot better than I got a new phone, and it gets a lot better than junky internet I got.
Yeah. Well, I've been there. I've been places where I had a bar right outside of Hattiesburg, and we could only get the we call it the satellite internet, and the jukebox and stuff ran off the internet, and it TV, all satellite. It was horrible.
So probably first of the year, I won't be in Mississippi no more. We're gonna uproot. Yeah, we're gonna uproot and go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Probably North Carolina. Yeah, North Carolina.
North Carolina?
Mhm.
That's cool. I'm jealous, man. I really like it up there.
It's a different atmosphere. People are a little bit more friendlier. The town I live in, it's been a great town to me, but it's slowly, it's getting worse with crime and stuff. And I realize everywhere is getting worse, but it's just time to uproot and try new things. Sometimes, you got to take that leap of faith,
I'm not real confident in your city leaders, I think they're really bad, I don't blame them, and it's really pretty up there. I've been doing some shows up in East Tennessee a good bit, and man, I have fell in love with it. Anybody that knows me knows I've been wanting to go to Florida for a long time, right? But I'm gonna tell you, man, That them Carolinas look good. They look good.
Well, there's just really nothing here for my kids and stuff, and hopefully we'll find a new pathway. I think it's going to work all out. I just got to have faith.
Yeah. It'll work out. I'm proud you taking a step because see, I've taken steps. I've been self-employed most of my whole life since I was young, and I know what most people don't know. They get nervous to make that move, but I've made those moves so many times that I just know that all you got to do is take the step.
If
You're still gonna eat, you're still going to live. You're not going to die.
if this is for anybody listening, if you're not happy where you're at right now, the only way to change that is to take a step in a different direction.
That's
Make
right.
it happen for yourself. Don't wait for it. Do it yourself. Take that leap. Sometimes it's going to work out, sometimes it won't, but you'll never know unless you try.
And what's that little Chinese guy say? But did you die? Even if it don't work out, right? Did you die?
I opened my full time with Noisy Boy Labs, and I have a mobile glass business, and it was the best thing I ever done. Yeah, there's some nights I want to pull my hair out because I'm just, feel like I'm overwhelmed, but at the same time, I'm happier than I've ever been in my whole life. So as far as my work aspect of it goes, my family life's always been great, but as far as my work and career and everything, I wish I'd have done this a long time ago. It's working out for me, and I'm very grateful.
Yeah. I think it's exciting when people do things for themselves. There are ups and downs,
Yes.
and I'm not sure. Yeah.
I worked, a 9-hour a day job, because I had an hour lunch. So you really work 8 hours, but you got to be there 9. And, and I was thankful for the job I had and everything, but I work for myself now. And sometimes I put in 18 hours a day. It's not uncommon for me to get 5 hours of sleep, and then I'm constantly moving throughout the whole day. And then when I get home, I'm constantly on my computer with designs, and I'm not complaining one bit. But having your own business is not as I guess people say. There's a saying, it must be nice. I didn't quite understood what that meant until I have my own business and realize how many hours and how hard this really is to not just work, but not to mentally break down, to be able to take the everyday
it will
stress.
toughen you.
Oh. Let me tell you right now, there's been a couple times I just want to hold my head down, for a second there, but I'm holding it up and I'm keeping my head up and I'm making it happen.
Man, and listen, you get some years behind you like that, and when other people talk about their problems, you're like, that ain't nothing. But to them, it's the world, right? But you have the experience behind you to know that it's easy to solve like this, or like you say, did you die? Will you die? It's not that big a deal, but it just seems like a big deal.
I get a lot of people that, talk to me about my Noisy Boy Labs business and everything. And, and they hit me up with random questions like, man, how long does it take you to do a design? Or how many do you do a day and all this stuff? And I'm like, you know what? Sometimes I spend 10 hours on one design. And from a business aspect, that sucks. But from my personal belief is that 10 hours I spent on that design, that person just got the best design that I could ever hand that person. Money wise, I made less than minimum wage. I'm not gonna lie about it, but I don't strive to be the designer that does 1,000 designs. I'd rather do 100 really good designs than 1,000, what I would like to say is cookie cutter designs. I'd rather take my time and do it right. Every time I want it to be done right. I make mistakes, and I'm going to have a few out there that, that ain't as great as others, but it ain't because I didn't put in 100% effort. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing I pride myself in, is I might get a little behind here and there, but I'm not going to rush it. I will take my time and I will do it right. Yeah. So that was another thing is, we was talking about, the whole business aspect of it, and I believe that if more people would worry about quality than quantity, I believe the quantity will be there if the quality's there. So that's what
Yeah.
I'm mainly focused on right now, is the quality, not the quantity.
Right. But unfortunately, the quantities where the most of the money comes in, right? That's brutal. But I mean, it's the way it is.
Yeah. Yes, but I don't strive to be a designer. I strive to be the best designer. And I know that is a bold statement. And I'm not saying I'm better than anybody. I strive to be the best because I want to be the best. I don't
Right.
strive to be second best or third best. I want to be the best I can be. Not
Yeah.
meaning that I'm better than anybody else. Just I want to be the best I can be. So that's what
Yeah.
I really strive for in life.
Yeah, that's cool. You know, when I was talking to RP Patel about these clamp classes, I was really thankful to him. I didn't know him at all. I don't know him really well, but man, he spent an hour or two on the phone with me during the weekday.
He's a really good guy.
He was busy, but he said this, man, and I admire this. You know, I know most of you guys probably don't remember, but there was a time when Tim Tebow down at Florida says, "We won't lose again." And he didn't, right? It was a bold statement. But RP said to me, he says, I don't want to be the loudest with this amount of watts. I don't want to be the loudest in this class. He says, I just want to be the loudest, period. You know? And dude, if you watch what he's doing, he is going for it. I love that. You know?
Yeah, that van build they got is absolutely crazy. I love it. And just to think that I don't want to say nothing else because I can't say I know personally about the build any more than anybody else does. But I mean, I
Right.
know that they just got those woofers in there, and I know there's still testing left to be done, and I know
Right.
they're going to still chase it because I
Right.
know what kind of people they are, and they will go after it,
Yeah.
and they won't stop until they get it. Those
I
guys
believe-
right there are some serious competitors, and you know,
Yeah.
they look at a rule book and they figure out a way to make it work. And, you know, a lot of people have something to say about that, but I just applaud them. I'm like, you know, go for it, you know?
Right. That's what I'm saying. He's going for it. And man, when somebody goes balls to the wall like that, you got to kind of appreciate it, you know? Now, he told me that he said Hank Veach is the mastermind. Now, he said that. Hank's the one that I guess designs it or whatever, you know. I don't know if he just does it all or I don't know their roles, right? But I know it's RP's van, but you know, but he says Hank is the one that's got some knowledge that is really good at it.
There would only be just a handful of people that, and I'm gonna be as humble about this as I can be, but there's only a handful of people that I just wouldn't want to go against competing because I know they would push me to everything I could do, and I don't even know if I'm at that. I don't know if I could be at that level. I might be, you know. I don't know if I could, but RP and Hank's one of them. You got Munson. You got some other really great guys out there that know what, you know, that can show some really crazy numbers, and them guys like that, they really spend the time to make it work.
Yeah, that's key, man. Time.
They know more about testing and, you know, finding gains than it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, it's exciting to watch what they go. Now, DB Drag's got their finals the same day as ours, so I probably won't see it till after. But I really wish it wasn't on the same day as ours. I literally would probably just go and spectate that.
I would go just for that van.
Yeah, me too.
Just
what they
for that
do.
build, I would go.
I'm excited for them. I can't wait.
Yes,
You know?
I'm very supportive. You know, for guys like that, any competitors that put the time in, I'm very
Right.
supportive. Anybody, I mean, that puts in that much time and that much dedication and that much effort, you know,
Right.
they got my respect 100%.
And
I know that.
And they'll have competition. You know, there's Carlos out there in Las Vegas. I'm assuming he's going to make that trip. You know, I would think so. Right. And we ain't
Yes.
heard much from him in the last little bit. And everything I saw from him was going up and up and up too.
I should have mentioned his name. I feel bad I didn't, but yes, his build is amazing as well.
That's
I think
given.
nuts.
No, he's one of those guys, you know.
Yes, definitely.
So I think it's gonna be very exciting. I wish I could go. I wish it wasn't on the same day as us, you know. But
Yeah.
it is.
I get it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited about it. And I don't know if these classes we have, I don't know if that'll bring some of those guys towards us or not. Um, man, it's like you want some big numbers for people to be able to chase, but ain't nobody chasing a 185. Hey, she's supposed to be putting fenders on, man.
I got that done already.
Right. We got a serious delay. That's the last comment on there. I'm putting fenders and where's the oil?
Well, I washed some of it off my hand, but I still got some on my head.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, so I'm excited. I'm excited about that too. And we got our chaos class and our monster class is going to be pretty close too. It'll be different numbers, but it'll be close. It won't be in the 85s. It'll be in the 60s. But Jason Miller, he's in here. He's I think he's got a 60 unless something goes wrong. He's in the monster class.
Well, you got Richard that does mid 60s.
He's in he's in I don't know which one he's going in though. He's a no wall, so he can do in the no wall or in the open.
That's right.
I think he'd be in the beast open, and though he don't know it, I think he'd be okay. We got several guys in that class. There's one guy down in South Florida, Brian Jasinski, and I don't know if they would make that ride to come compete or not. Robert Diaz is not judging for us anymore, so we don't have anybody down there. And I can't go down there and produce this.
You're gonna have your hands full.
I just can't do it. I don't think I could do all that. So thought about I do have maybe a solution for them, but I haven't quite got it ironed out yet. But yeah, so Richard will be he would be real competitive in the beast for sure, because he's doing mid 60s, right? Yeah.
Well, I don't want to say what he does and don't do, but I know I think he's done 63s, 64s maybe at the show. I don't know his best he's done, but I know it's more than a 63. At least I hope it is now that I said that.
And Paul's in our GOAT class, I think, and he just got his first 70. Man, this is just weird.
Will Virgil be attending with his little extreme form?
I don't know if he'll make the drive or not. I probably need to call him and tell him when it is, because I don't think he's got Facebook.
I don't think he does either. He's kind of old school like that.
But I don't know if he's got enough. I'm pretty sure he's got enough points. Pretty sure he's been to several shows. We were going to have some shows at his place, and we just never did. Need to get on that. But yeah, man, that dude, man. So he did that 74 at Scraping in USAC, and he popped it and showed me. He did that at 12.5 volts, and one little amp. I don't know what it was. That's strong.
Yeah, that's pretty good for one sub. There was people back in the 90s doing that same number, but it's all right.
What? Was it?
I'm just gotta mess with Virgil a little bit. I wish he had a Facebook and was watching.
Was he one of them? Now he was always.
I don't know. He's been a big competitor for a long time, and he's always been nice to me when I talk to him or at a show or whatever. I don't have no problem with Virgil. I think he's just a hardcore competitor that loves doing what he does.
Yeah, he likes to compete, man. He had won. Now the DD Tank won this year, I think, but prior to this year, he was the loudest person at Scraping for every year it existed.
That is correct.
So
there was a couple times he almost didn't get it though, but yeah. He almost had a non-extreme van get him a couple times, but it is what it is.
You almost got him, huh?
Almost, but hey, that's the name of the game.
Right.
That little card that's pretty cool. I wish I had it, to be honest.
Yeah, man.
I think it's cool.
You know, he's got a van. Also, he's got a lot of builds actually.
That
But I,
was
Hmm?
Steve Cook's old van, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, I went to the shop over there one time. I was just hunting for places to have base wars, and I walked up there, and I didn't know it was Virgil's. I didn't know he owned it. I didn't know anything. I just walked up, and there's this good looking Astro van, walled up, tubbed out the bottom with the batteries down there. I guess I don't know what's down there. I'm like, have we not ever seen this? And then it was Virgil. You know, it was his place. So I'm like,
I wish he would build it.
yeah, man, he's got it. Well, it's built. It's still built. It plays.
Somebody tell
It's just
Virgil
sitting
to
there.
build it.
Right. And I think he's got about 6 other big builds. Yep. Virgil, John, I will definitely be there. That would be awesome if we could figure something like that out.
So-
I'm coming down there Friday.
So actually, speaking of John there, I had these, I was going to announce that, I got some highs and stuff for the van. I figured that'd be a great topic to bring up.
Yeah.
Rogue Audio.
Rogue
I got
stuff,
some,
that-
yeah. I got some 6.5, some tweeters, some horns. I'm filling in the back doors, the driver door, make it more presentable where you can actually hear the music instead of just the bass.
Right.
I got the back doors kind of mocked up, ready to go. I got some cab M4 amps for highs. I'm gonna get a DSP. I don't know much about the DSP as I should, but I got some teammates that can help me out with it, so that'd be great.
Yeah.
Probably get Drew Jones to help me out with it. Me and him been teammates forever. Just because we both have design companies don't mean we're like arch enemies or something like that. We've been friends forever, so I'll probably get him to help me out because he's very knowledgeable about the DSPs and how to set them up and make them right. So,
And I'll tell you, when it comes to those kinds of things, I don't know if you know him, but Justin Much over in Robertsdale, there, Cody Cumbia's that Hell Chicken car, they're really into that, and I bet they could lend a hand too. And Eddie at UAF,
oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
So, but I know Justin M's been doing it for a long time, and Cody's was the only one that I heard for a long time that sounded good. Now, John's stuff that I've seen at those shows, man, if you go to any of the shows that are out now, John's stuff's gonna sound better.
Well,
And-
so here's what happened. This is exactly what happened. I was at Scraping the Coast and Stephen Duncan's van. I couldn't help but hear those highs. They
Right.
sounded amazing. And I said, man, Duncan, I just really like the way those sound. And I said, he basically got me in contact with John. One thing leads to another, and we made it happen. So
Yeah.
I'm very excited to run the product in the van.
Yeah.
I love the way they sounded in Stephen Duncan's van. I just loved them. And usually things don't catch my attention like that, but they was just crisp and clean sounding. So I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, you go down to one of those shows where he brings a lot of his vehicles, he's got some pickups, man, that sound, they actually sound good. I am not a fan of the stunt wall type thing, but
I've never really been a fan of the stunt walls myself. Now, I'm not saying anything against them. It's never been my personal passion.
Well,
so
I'm not trying to say anything against them, but I'll just say I hate them because I can't do business. When I go home at night, I can't talk because I'm having to talk so loud all day. And I'm like, F every one of you. That's the way I feel about it. But
yeah, I got to hear a lot of I got to hear a lot of really cool builds. Slamology that had Rogue in it, and I was just highly impressed of everything I've heard with them. So I'm extremely happy about it.
Yeah,
that and
they sound good.
The cab Ultra woofers that I got are holding up extremely well in testing, and they're super efficient. And I'm finding gains that I've never seen in that van until now with those woofers. The numbers are there, the efficiency's there. Even the little amps I'm running, the cab 22s, You know, I'm getting over 2,000 watts of amp out of those things, clean power, and I'm just really loving the van more than I really ever have, because I've always loved the van, but now I'm trying to take it to a level where I could take it to shows and demo it. I've never been the demo guy because I always cared about a number. I didn't want to hurt my subs. I didn't want to hurt the van. I wanted my subs as stiff as they could be for Burt purposes, or, you know, but now I'm going to get into the demo world and have a little fun.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's a totally different build. Right. It works totally different.
At Scraping, I had some very old XS batteries, and XS batteries are great batteries, just not when they're about 12 years old.
Right. Yeah.
And so we got some C-Max in there now, and my voltage is solid and night and day difference. I got all 12 subs playing, all 12 amps playing. I hooked up some Highs amps the other day. We're gonna get these bad boys all in the van.
Right.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds fun. Man, it's been so long since I got to build anything. It's kind of driving me crazy.
And I got my JS alternators. I got one of them installed, and we're making a bracket for another one, and all that fun stuff. I just haven't had as much time as I really need to spend on the van. I've been so wrapped up in 2 businesses I have that I've been kind of putting the van to the side. But every once in a while, I get to run out there and play with it. You know,
Yeah.
even if it's 20 minutes, you know, I can make a little progress in 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's right. I don't like to do that, switching up this and that. If I sit down, I'm gonna dive in. I want to dive in and get it done, and it's hard to just go for 20 minutes and then. So I
got a notebook.
Right.
I got a notebook full of data, and I don't have to remember nothing. I just go back to that notebook, and that tells me everything I need to know.
Yeah.
I've got a notebook on that van for the last 5 or 6 years that it was built.
Wow. Well, that's cool.
It is the loudest right now, power, decibel per watt than it's ever been.
That's freaking awesome.
Yeah, I think so. I'm happy. I'm excited about it.
Yeah. Well, I've got one coming too, and I'm excited about it. I can't wait. We'll all go do the shows together. It'll be fun.
Yeah, that's going to be exciting. You know, I figured that truck would be ready about the same time the audio's ready. So,
well, I'll tell you what's slowing the truck down right now. Base Horse. I just don't
it's
have
the time. Yeah, definitely.
Base Horse is growing, and it's putting a hurt on me, man. Time wise, you know, just
well, you know, I don't just run 2 businesses. I have 5 kids and a wife. You know, I have a life outside of all this stuff that I take time out, you know, and spend with them, whether it's just watching a movie or turning on the Xbox playing Halo or something. Every once in a while, I have to take the time out for my family. I have to. They're the reason I'm doing everything I'm doing. It ain't, you know, just for me. It's for me and my family. So yeah, definitely.
My kids are of the age where they don't really want to be around daddy so much. You know, teens. One's in college, one's in high school. You know, they're doing their own thing. So I don't really have that to say. But man, still you have life, and I got my hands in other things too, you know. But like right now, we're building our awards for finals. You know, I'm building 80 of them. You know, that's got me. Right.
I gotta get these things out of my lap. I've had all these stuff in my lap the whole time.
Yeah. Oh wow. I would like to have the guidebook or rule book, whatever you want to call it, out for the finals, you know, for the next year. Like, people need to know what that first show, they need to know what they're doing, you know, the new numbers, the new classes, all that stuff. So I need to have that out in the next week or 2. And so I got a busy couple of weeks ahead, but yeah.
You know, being a designer, there's so many orgs out there and so many people wanting to build for X class, and they hit me up with some random class that has brand new rules, and they're like, you know, I want to build for this class, and I want to make sure it sticks in this class, and I gotta go to that org, look up that class ruling, and then
Yeah.
and then try to make heads or tails out of, what
Yeah.
dimensions they can use and stuff like that. And it's
Yeah.
pretty interesting sometimes.
Yeah. Some of the orgs, I couldn't figure out the rules for the reason we don't have any. And I really do hate that I got to come up with some now. I don't like it at all. I ain't gonna lie. It's been good. We've been growing like crazy. I hate to change it. I hope I don't go wrong, but I just think it'll make it easier. I just think it'll make it easier. Yeah, James is not up and going yet, but he is. He is, and he will be a judge for us.
And if anybody's watching, don't know, I can't see like messages or anybody saying anything. So I'll try to go back later and look.
Yeah, I've been watching. I haven't seen anything. I'll throw it at you if I see something. I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen anything just yet.
So let's ask me some hard stuff about designing that I don't know.
Right. Yeah. So let me tell you what my challenge was. See what your answer to it may be. I wanted to do away with the port calculation. How would you do that?
I would never ever add it again.
Well,
because I can show you where it doesn't mean as much as you think.
Yeah. I don't think it means a whole lot either. But
I think the cone area is better because you have 6th orders, which you have 2 ports. 4th order has, your front port, of course, and you've got, slot ports, air ports. You got, I call them catfish ports, oval ports and stuff like that. And every port performs differently. And I love base wars. I have never, just being honest, I've never been a fan of calculating port area. And but I love base wars, so it's just not my.
This is how come we have to include it, and it's still included. The numbers just reflect them in there, okay? But this is why. You tell me how to get around this, and I'm game, okay? 2 sealed 15s versus, let's go 4 sealed 15s, right? Versus 4 any other 15s you want to think of. 4th, 6th, whatever, right? Don't matter to me. In the SPL game, do you think those 4 sealed 15s will be able to compete with the 4 4th order or 6th order or band pass, technically, or just regular ported boxes? I don't think they can compete. And I had to make provisions for that. Now, the bad thing about that is that it penalizes the person that does all the math for their port. It's easy to build a sealed enclosure, right? Not a lot of calculation. It's just volume.
Correct.
But the person takes time to tune that port. They ought to get some benefit to it. But with what we've been doing, it kind of takes away the benefit of it.
Well, a lot of the bigger builds, the cabin and how you open a door or the window acts as an extension of the port.
Mm-hmm.
So if you take a 4th order, but I don't know. There's multiple ways there that could be answered.
I
that
think
could benefit, but
not
in your everyday build. It's not going to matter. I mean, not in your normal guy that's going to pull up and run base wars. Anything that I can think of in my head that's like a what if or something like that's not going to be. It's 1% of your problem, not 99% of your business. So it wouldn't matter.
Well, the sealed ones, those are out there, and those are the ones. The reason we had to throw in the port calculation, because I don't know any sealed builds. If you compare 2 sealed 15s to 2 ported 15s, that the sealed is not going to be a louder, that the ported is not going to be way louder unless they really screwed up the port? I don't know any.
I can't think of any either.
So
And I have seen a lot of builds.
Yeah, I had to make it fair. So you would think, okay, so 215s could compete against 212s that are ported, you might say. That'd be pretty close.
Mhm.
And that's how I came up with it originally. And so I just didn't know how to do it without including a port
Yeah.
to make it, you know.
I just you know, it also makes it kind of a fun challenge, you know, for a builder or anybody to say, okay, I want to be in this class, but I have X amount to work with and I have X amount of port area to work with. What can I make happen? And then they might not want to go slot port no more. You know, they might want to use a more efficient way and go air ports, you know,
Right.
something like that. That's kind of one of them things.
Yeah, yeah. It's man,
I've had fun doing it. As a designer, I have had fun doing it for people. It is a little bit of a challenge sometimes, but I've had absolute fun doing it.
Yeah, yeah, I can see it being a total blast, especially when you
Right.
get built and it comes to reality.
Because I'm like, man, you got all these subs and no port area. This is just not gonna work.
Right. Yeah.
But we always find a way to figure something out.
Yeah. That's right. It's like putting a puzzle together.
So,
So do you
yeah.
like to use for your port area calculation? Hey, first of all, let's get some general things down. Do you think that the more area a port you have versus less area of a port given a sub, whatever, right, is going to be louder
Ooh.
to an bigger port?
Every
little louder?
every build on that question is different because I have seen the smallest builds to the biggest builds. And I'm gonna say even some of the, you know, the smaller, it can be either way. It depends on the equipment, the tuning, how the box is in the vehicle, what it's loading off of. It's so many things you got to factor in with that. I can't tell you if a bigger port's gonna be louder than a smaller port because you just can't do that. There's no answer to that. There's not a calculator on the face of this earth that could tell you that in a vehicle besides a term lab. Besides looking at a term lab and seeing it for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. But I think if you started with a port this big with a 15.
Oh, that's different. I mean, that's like
as you go bigger, it's going to get louder. We're not counting cabin, just box, okay? As you go
I
bigger,
understand.
Yeah, as you go
There's
bigger,
a limit there. There's a limit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a limit.
Yeah.
Is that limit the unloading point? And that's a genuine question, not a, you know, as it gets bigger, you get louder, the port, you get louder. But at some point, you start unloading, you might start losing increase in SPL. So what do you think? When it quits getting louder, are you, you know, there's a peak. So it's heading towards unloading, I'm assuming. I don't know. I'm asking.
It's getting, the tuning is changing as well. That's one of the bigger things, you know, when you start tuning way away from the subs FS, you know, that causes issues. And then, you know, you can't have too much port. They'll unload. Depends on how much power you have. There's a lot of things to factor into that. It's every case is different kind of thing. I've seen some stuff that shouldn't work extremely well. And I've seen some stuff that on pen and paper is supposed to just dominate and not work well at all. So I've seen in multiple ways.
Do you like to tune the boxes? Look, let's talk not vehicles, okay? Because we definitely understand that the vehicle changes everything. And we know that a Tahoe is going to peak around 46 hertz, depending on what you've done to it. And CRX is going to be closer to 60. But so if we're just talking box now, okay?
Okay.
Do you want to tune that sub at the FS or no?
No,
And how come?
I personally no. And here's why. That's the FS of the sub. You want to tune above that FS. That way
Yeah.
you actually have that range. You don't want to tune at the FS of the sub because
Right.
when you tune at the FS of the sub, you've got you're tuning here and then you've got your bandwidth.
Right.
So why would you do that? That doesn't make that it makes absolutely no sense. And I could prove that. So
yeah. So when you say
now
it
you
doesn't,
want to
what do you mean?
now you don't want to tune below the FS. You can't tune at that FS of that sub because your bandwidth is going to be below that FS and above that FS. Now, not saying that the sub's not going to sit there and play it or do whatever you want it to do, but normal situation for somebody that wants an all around build that's not chasing 20 hertz. Okay.
Yeah.
You normally wouldn't tune them that low. Now, some people do, and they kind of, because they're going after a 15 hertz or 20 hertz
Yeah,
demo
20.
monster. That's different. They're in a different realm than your just daily person that just wants to listen to whatever comes on the radio or whatever
Right.
their Bluetooth, whatever their jams are. That
Yeah.
would be something you'd want to tune it higher than the FS. That way you have the range of the sub.
Right. Now, how much higher do you like to go?
Most boxes, I love tuning around the 35 hertz range. Most subs out there 35 hertz, except for like your smaller subs, of course, like your 12s and 15s and stuff. 32 35 hertz range is
Yeah.
about ideal. You could play your mid 20s and on up into your higher 40s or lower 50 hertz, and it still picks them up great.
Yeah.
But that's just talking about like slot port box. Your fourth orders and your sixth orders are a little different with that.
Yeah. Now, how is a fourth order different in that aspect?
Well, you've got a sealed section that you tune the sealed section, and then you have a ported chamber, basically, okay, in front, and then you have to tune that ported chamber as well. You also have to count ratio in with that. I've heard several people that was big in the audio world say that the ratio does not matter. That is the most incorrect statement I've ever heard in my life. The larger ratio, the more you have a peak. The smaller ratio, the more bandwidth you can actually have with that build, depending on how it's tuned. So go ahead.
How do you dictate the sealed side tuning? I don't mean how do you tune it, but I mean what's your target there? I mean, what are you trying to do with that?
It depends on the goal of the customer or the goal of what they have in mind. If I'll give you a prime example, if in my personal van, I mean, I'll tell it, but I don't care. I'm an open book on a lot of things. My van has 1.3 cubes per sub. It is tuned to 56 hertz on the dot. Now, I'm going after a certain frequency. My front port is tuned to 56 hertz on the dot. I'm going after one frequency only, and my bandwidth from there, I lose efficiency basically on everything after that point. Okay, I have a peak because I was only focused on that peak. But if I only wanted to demo the van, like if I didn't care about numbers ever, I would have put them in closer to 2 cubes a piece, and that would have gave me, with a sealed section would have been, I think it was 39, 38 hertz, somewhere in there. And then maybe even 36, I could have to look up the math on that. And then I tuned the ported chamber higher, so I have bandwidth.
Yeah. Now, that ported the top side, or the ported side, I guess you'd say.
Okay.
Which one do you like? I mean, what ratio do you like?
For SPL?
Yeah.
The bigger the better. In my personal opinion, almost everything I've seen, because you can get more of a, basically like a peak with it, from what I have personally tested and personally seen. Now, the smaller the ratio, in my opinion, you can get more bandwidth.
Yeah.
Depending
You're right.
on depending on the size of the box, how much room you have to work with. A lot of people out there, you can only get a small bandwidth because you're putting so many subs in such a small space. I've
Yeah.
seen I've had to do reverse ratios before, to make everything fit, and it performed well. So there's every build's different. It depends on the
Yeah.
goals, how many subs,
Yeah. I was just fixing to ask if you'd ever made the ported side smaller than the sealed side and how it came out. I've never done that.
I've done a few, and the customers love them. They haven't had no issues. Sometimes that's just the way it is. That's all the room they have to work with, and sometimes they care more about getting that amount of equipment in that space more than So that's what they want, and that's what I'll make happen.
Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of people use 16 square inches per cubic foot to calculate the port area to design a box with port area. Some people use cone area, right? And I don't really know how they do that, but what do you like good and bad about both the different ways?
Well, if you ask 10 people, you're gonna get 10 different answers.
Right.
I use a formula, and I'm not gonna say it on here. I'm sorry, but I use a formula that is tried and true. Has multiple mid-60s builds out there right now. That's working, no sub failures. That's just great.
Right.
And it's only because of real world experience and me watching what other people has done and seeing what worked, what hasn't worked, why it wasn't working, why it was failing, and then me putting my own twist on it. Am I 100% correct? Probably not, but that's just the formula that I feel comfortable using, and it works. But for your normal box, there's a lot of like you said, 12 to 15 cubes. Not cubes, 12 to 15 square inches of port per cube is like a rule of thumb. If you have X amount of space to work with, you have to sometimes give and take a little bit between the actual cubic foot after displacement and port area. Sometimes you have to give or take just a little bit depending on how much power they have and their goals. If they're just wanting something to listen to, not something that's going to be, like overpowering or well over subs rated RMS or something like that, you can give or take a little bit more, especially with the port area. But 9 out of 10 times, the room and space is limiting the builds.
Gotcha. It's been my experience.
It's never really a perfect world for an audio guy. I guarantee it. Like if they have just enough room for 112, they're going to want to fit 2 in there somehow, some way. And they don't care how it's got to be done. That's just the truth. Oh, I can't fit 2 12s. How about 3 10s? It's like, come on, man, give me a break.
Yeah.
But that's where I'll come in and kind of work my mad scientist skills a little bit and try to make it happen for them. And sometimes it just won't happen. And I'll be like, hey, you just don't have the room. But if I feel like I can make it work for them and achieve their goals, and I do what I can. Yeah.
So, so not your formula in particular, but but do you know anybody that uses the cone area to calculate the port?
I have seen it. I have done it before, and I didn't yield as good of results as what I've been using. So I'm kind of sticking with what is working well. And I'm not saying it's the best. I'm not saying that there's not a better way to do it. I'm not saying that there's I believe in the way I do it, and I know it works well. So I'm kind of sticking with my guns on it.
Yeah.
Because if you ask 100 people in audio, you can ask 100 of the top name guys, how do you tune a 6th order? 99 of them is going to tell you something different. I have asked that question to everybody that what I call is like way beyond me, because I'm trying to gain knowledge of certain things. And everybody says something different, or they don't want to tell you. And it's because honestly, there's so many different answers out there. A lot of people just go with what's working.
Yeah,
that's
and
the
a lot of
truth.
people kind of go with what they have heard.
Yeah, or what
No,
they have tested and actually found that worked. That's the data that I use. I don't
Yeah.
just use somebody, I threw this build together and it's working. That don't tell me nothing. That don't tell me if a port bigger or smaller would have been better. I go from the data that I've actually people's tested, or I've helped them test, or even if I wasn't a part of it whatsoever, I'd ask them like, hey man, did you do this, this, and this? And they would tell me. And so I keep all that up here and use it as use it into Noisy Boy Labs. It ain't me that's doing this. It's the experience that I've had at all these audio shows and all these, really good bass heads, sharing their knowledge and sharing their experiences, and me just paying attention for the last 20 years in audio, just paying attention, asking questions. And that's why when somebody asks me a question, I don't mind going out of my way if I can help them to try to explain something to them, because I was once just like they were and just didn't know anything. I didn't know.
And that's why I'm asking you these questions right now.
I mean, I remember one time I didn't even know, how to wire a subwoofer up, like I knew how to hook wires into it, but I didn't know what ohm load was. And I didn't know any of that stuff when I was a lot younger,
Right. I really wanted to sit and make some videos since I got all this stuff to do it, but I just haven't had the time to do it. So been kind of a bummer.
But I'll tell you this, in a sixth order, I have found that let's put rear chamber port. Okay. I have found that port works a little bit better on the smaller side.
The rear chamber port works. What do you mean? I'm a little slow.
Okay. The subs. Okay. Where your subs are at, behind it, do you have a ported chamber? That'd basically be if you're looking into a build, that would be like your rear port.
The inner port?
Yeah, your inner port. There you go. The inner port, I have found works better a little bit more on the smaller side. For the guys that's really aiming for like 20 hertz.
Oh,
I'll say that.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Smaller port, more air volume or velocity, I guess.
Yeah.
I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of like a tip of the day.
Yeah. That's cool. That's cool.
So if you was to go 15 inches of port area per cube on something like that, I think you're going to have issues. I know you're going to have issues.
Say that again.
Okay. So in sixth orders, if depending on the sub, of course, but depending on the situation and the power, of course, there's a lot of stipulations here, but if you use what was we said earlier, like 12 to 15 inches of port area per cube.
Yeah.
All right. So if you use that formula for the rear ported section of a sixth order, and you're trying to play like in a 20 hertz tone, trying to tune that area at about 20 hertz, and you want to play those 20 hertz with authority, with a lot of power, you're going to have some issues. I really feel you're going to have some unloading issues and some from the experiences I've had and seen and people actually testing, they've always been louder with a little bit smaller port area. Actually, a good bit smaller port area.
On the inner port, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. So here's one. A guy says, "Hey, James Myers, man, I wish you would message me after this. I think you are a member, and I don't have contact information." But so James Myers says, "Do you look up the specs on the equipment people are using, or do you listen to what the customer tells you, kind of deal?" Let's see. Say a customer says they have a 3K watt amp, but the amp actually does more or less than the rated. How do you handle that situation? Do you just trust the customer, or do you, No, that's a tough one.
It was a question for me.
Yeah.
Okay. the great thing about me being me is when somebody comes to me for a design, I ask them what their goals are, ask them what equipment they have. I don't care what they think their equipment will do. I don't care if they think,
Right.
okay, Scar, I love designing for them. I have nothing bad to say about them. I will not use their specs.
Right.
I mean, I've got console Scar builds doing mid 50s at 32 hertz.
Is that the guy in Louisiana?
Real world experience. Yeah. Real world experience. You know, I won't use their specs. I just won't do it. I'm not saying it's far off from it, but also I've seen so many amplifiers and I've seen so many real world situations that I'll usually ask, what kind of amp is it, or what kind of subs is it? How are you going to be running them? Do you plan on upgrading power later? And all I can do then is go by what the customer tells me that they're going to do and design it to the best of my ability.
Right.
If they tell me that they're going to add power later, then I can, you know, kind of modify it a little bit to where it'll take it better on higher power.
That's got to be a
It ain't gonna
challenge.
be as efficient, but
Yeah, and that's got to be a challenge because regardless of what the amplifier says it'll do, depends on the input, you know, or not input, but I mean, it depends on the voltage you put into the amplifier.
correct. Now you know, I'm not a dummy. Like I know a power acoustic 5,000 watt amp is not going to do 5,000 watts. So
Right.
stuff like that, I know the customer when they say, "Hey, I got a power acoustic amp," and I'm not knocking power acoustic. I think they're great brand for the money, but come on now, the ratings are a little funky. But anyway,
I used to have a little amp EQ that said 10,000 watts on it from Walmart.
Yeah,
back in the day, right.
I just kind of know the real world power,
Yeah.
and you know, even after the rise and everything, like, okay, you got a whatever, a true 8K amplifier. Guess what, buddy? You got rise. You know, you got voltage drop. So
Right.
yeah, I kind of figure all that into all the builds. This is not something that's easy, and I don't think somebody that their first year in audio could do it.
Yeah.
It's not as simple as what we was talking about earlier, using so many cubes, so like 12 to 15 inches of port area per cube and all this stuff. It is not that simple.
Mhm.
It's all in how the subs are faced, how the ports faced, how the subs are in the box. You can have a square box with a port.
Right.
Where that subwoofer sits inside that square box is more
Yeah.
critical than
That's
you'd
right.
ever imagine.
That's right. X-Max
have-
plays a factor. Lots
Yeah.
of things play factors.
A lot of people add 45s, and I tell them that 9 out of 10 boxes that me or anybody else has ever tested, 45s sometimes don't help. Best thing to
Yeah.
do is build it without them, put a 45, test it with and without it, because you're probably just going to yank it right back out when you see that it
I've never had one
don't
work.
gain.
I've never had one work for the better. Not once.
I'm not saying in every case that it's not going to work. I'm sure there are plenty of cases where 45 will help, but most of the ones I have seen, somebody added a 45, they lost in score, they lost efficiency, or it just didn't work out. So I always just tell everybody, hey, you want 45s? Oh. Yes, my van is the loudest dumpster on the face of the earth, if it's a dumpster.
Right.
So
That's
there was a I ain't gonna say no names, but there was a guy that had you know, I'm always like taking up. If I see something, I don't like somebody saying something, I speak out. I don't care. I don't care who they are. I don't care who they know. I don't care how much money they have. They're not better than me in any way. I'm not better than them in any way. I'm gonna voice my opinion. And there was a guy talking about clean builds versus not so clean of builds, and how he didn't like seeing deadener, and I just thought he was kind of ripping on the builds that didn't look like show cars.
Yeah.
And so he said that my van was a heap and a dumpster, and you know, I guess
Funny, yeah.
yeah. So that's where that came from, if anybody was wondering. So
Okay.
my Facebook profile is a dumpster truck.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll be selling shirts. I'll be selling shirts, you know, later to capitalize on that. you know, with
Yeah.
a dump truck and stuff. Not a dump truck, but a dumpster, garbage
Right.
truck, and the whole thing. You know,
Well, I'm
I
one of
thought that
those
was
guys
funny.
that like to see it pretty, but I'm also one of those guys that likes to see it pretty that hasn't built one that breaks everywhere. So I don't get no judgment out of
Well,
Yeah.
I commented on the post and I said you could take all that pretty stuff and put it in my van. Before I can turn it up, it's going to rip it out.
Right.
I mean, what are you going to do? Put steel in there and paint the steel? But this is a guy that's never been able to build a 160 build. Never built anything loud. So
Right.
his credentials,
Yeah.
is what it is.
Yeah.
I don't care what he builds. He just ain't gonna call my build a dumpster, and he's not gonna make fun of other people's builds just because they're not up to his standards.
Right.
Not on my watch.
Well, it is a challenge as I look to start my build, my bigger build, to build pretty panels that will withstand a lot of wind, I guess you'd say. That's something I hadn't had to worry with a lot before.
Yeah, I've got a solid steel enclosure. Well, it's got wood, but solid steel enclosure, and it was painted automotive car paint, clear coated. At one time I could wax the inside of that box. You could ask anybody when I first did it. And even though it has all the steel tubing solid welded, I would still flex that, and you can see cracks all along where I put a little glass work. So no matter what I'd done to make it look better or more presentable or this and that, I was more focused on the end result than I wasn't entering a beauty contest or a beauty pageant, thank God. I was entering an SPL competition.
Yeah.
So
listen, somebody posted this question. It was a question to you earlier, and it was Jason, and he says, "What's the best CRX enclosure that you know of?" Basically, is what he's asking.
ask Christopher Munson. He is the CRX king. I'm not saying there's some other guys out there that don't know what they're doing with the CRXs, but so far he is the man to ask that question. If I'm not mistaken, 218s or even a single 18 with a lot of testing. It's not something you can just throw in there and expect those to get those results. Expect a lot of testing, a lot of cabin gains. It ain't just the box. It's also where you put dead near, where you don't put dead near, how you position the seats, how you position the meter, everything. So
Jason says
where the amps are,
secrets.
he won't give up his secrets. Well, I'm sorry, but it's because he spent so much time.
Yeah, time to get in doing that and create your own secrets, huh?
Yeah, and it's all about testing, because what works for him in the same CRX, if you have the same year model, it don't matter. Everything that worked for him might not work in that exact car. Where he put Dedner at might hurt you in score. Where you put Dedner at might help you in score. So it's all about testing. No two builds will ever be alike. No two vehicles will ever be alike. I highly suggest get a notepad, pen and paper, write everything down, and then do that 1,000 more times.
Right.
And then you start chasing tents, and then you start pulling your hair out, and then you're just getting started.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And if you haven't blew at least 2 subs, you ain't doing nothing yet.
Yeah. Yep, that's right.
I want to see smoke coming out of the coils.
That's something that I on the norm don't want to see.
How do you know you're clipping if you ain't clipped yet?
Good question. Yeah.
Everybody asks me about clipping too. That's a fun conversation.
Yeah.
It's a kind of a joke, but I highly recommend it.
You get a little louder. No doubt. Right?
Slight clipping. Not just going crazy with it. But for bursts, hey, do what makes you happy. Do what gets that number up there. Don't be scared of it. Now, RP and Hank would probably, you know, they'd probably just frown at me saying that, but you know, I'm not scared of a little clipping.
I'm pretty confident that at the first little snippet of clipping is where you're loudest.
Right?
I think I saw that on a signal generator somewhere. I mean, on
I need all the power I can get, whether it's clipping or not. Now, actually, with all that, it's also involved in testing. You know, this testing is going to tell you one way or another.
Right.
Joe, you coming to our finals Lafayette with the van? Jeez, that kind of put me on the spot.
Right.
I would like to come to the finals. I don't know if the van will be fully ready by then. And I guess I could demo it for people. I don't have points and I know this is terrible, but I don't have a Base Wars membership. And I've been to a lot of shows, not competing, but I've been to a lot of shows. And I don't have a membership.
Yeah, you've probably been to 10 shows.
Well, last year I was in a lot.
I think I did not see you at I know it's Slam, but one recently, off up there somewhere. What was that one? Sundown Show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We drove all the way up there for that. I had a fun time at that show. That was more of a scoping out North Carolina as well.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
But that was the first time I ever been to that show.
Huh?
That was the first time I ever been to Slimology. I've been to a lot of other big shows, but never been to Slimology. I've always bypassed it because it's a one-day show, and I never thought it'd ever be that big, but Slimology was great.
You mean
not Slimology? No. The Sundown Show. I'm sorry. Yeah. I got that all mixed up. Yeah. The Sundown Show is when I went to go check out North Carolina. Yeah. That was the first time I was ever at it.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, the cool thing about that is it's small enough. You can walk from one end to the other in 5 minutes. And there's a lot of builds jam-packed in there, you know?
Yeah, but I've been to Slam multiple times, and that's always been just a great show. And Sundown was a great show. But like I said, I've always bypassed it because it was always like a one-day thing. And
yeah, it's a long way to go for us for one day. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. But I went this year and had a great time, and I'll be there next year too. Right. Literally, I'll be right up the street from it probably.
Yeah.
Meta still in Florida is bigger. Oh, I want to go to I've heard about that show. Hint. Oh Lord.
Well, he's got the one this weekend that I'm coming down for. It's a combination show. I've seen like a lifted truck show, but it's also the Florida State Finals, right?
Well, the biggest thing is I had all my ducks in a row for Wake the Dead. I wanted to go to that show and blast 170 demos all over the place because I'm there.
Yeah.
I'm testing and I'm there and I can hold it.
Yeah.
And without hurting anything. So that was the show I really wanted to attend to show. I got another windshield in the van, fixing to do the double windshield thing. And then I got the doors getting done with the highs, and I'm very excited about that. But now the van's a little more efficient than it's ever been. And it's just fun to play with it now that I'm actually looking into it as a demo machine other than just the numbers. Now, I say demo, but I'm also talking about numbers. And the reason why I'm talking about numbers and demo, because I think them two things need to come together for somebody who wants to demo. I think they need to worry about efficiency, because if they worry about efficiency in their build, they can get louder and less power and demo longer, louder, better, save equipment.
Less heat, right?
Yeah, I mean, if I can put 2,000 watts to my woofers and do 70s versus...
It's less heat and it lasts longer. Yep.
I'm gonna miss all my teammates I've had for a long time when I go to North Carolina, but hey, I'll still be teammates and I still see them at shows. I just won't be,
right.
That one guy in Mississippi kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Now, what are you looking at a particular town, right there where Sundown is, where the show was, or different area?
Within probably a 20-mile radius of
Yeah.
Sundown.
Yeah. I
Well,
saw a
yeah.
lot of pretty places up there, man.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place up there, and I really enjoyed going. And we're gonna go the first of the year for about 2 weeks and just get a more of a feel for it.
Mhm.
But the plan is to be going up there, you know,
Yeah.
fully moved in probably at least by the middle of next year,
Yeah.
or sooner, or
Well,
sooner.
I left a show that we had in Atlanta or somewhere in Georgia. I don't remember where it was. And I drove up to Sundown to spend some time with Chris Munson, right? And
Mhm.
so, man, I drove the back roads because I had plenty of time to get there. And I was actually going to get there a day early. So I just kind of took it easy. And man, everybody up there's got cool cars in their yards that are rusting. They're not rusting, but I'm just saying it's a very cool car atmosphere up there. It's really awesome. I drove through this one spot. It was a gravel road where GPS had jacked me up, right? And but man, on this gravel road, there's like 32 model Fords in this field just out there. I'm like, oh my God, you'd give anything for just one of them. And there's 10 of them in a field that they're not even cutting the grass around. Like, what the
Yeah.
crap?
I seen some pretty cool cars while I was out there. I got to ride in my first Tesla. That was a pretty cool experience.
Yeah.
Them things
They-
got.
Fast,
I didn't realize how, I've got to ride in some really fast, some supercars and stuff before, but them Teslas, for what they are, it feels like the G-force of like a GTR or something. When they take off, it's just like, it's all
Man.
at once. It's like, man, it just feels great.
Is over. That play that is out, it's over. It's just done. That's the fastest thing. The only thing that's gonna catch it is another electric car, maybe. I mean, it's unreal. It's over. It's like it's just over. It's kind of like this. I never have wanted to make my Dodge pickup fast because it's a Dodge pickup, and I've never really cared about anything because I'm like, if I want to go fast, I'll just get on my Hayabusa, right? Well, those electric cars, they are now fast. So if you buy yourself a Mustang, you can try to make it fast, but it's not going to be fast compared to that stock Tesla. It's over.
No, stock Tesla. I've got a nice little S10. I feel bad getting in that truck now. It's like a solid 12-second truck, and it ain't got nothing on that stock Tesla. Not that initial pull, And then the bad thing is it just keeps on. It's like, man, It's really impressive. I would have never thought, that.
I'll tell you this. I'm sure I've told the story on here before, but I went up to Pro Audio and I got into Jimmy Ham's, right? And I'm standing there talking to Jimmy. He's like, let me show you a car. I'm looking at the car and I'm like, it's a sedan. Why'd you buy this? That's what I'm thinking. And I'm like, I'm not really into the electric car thing. I don't know what we were doing that day, but I was more interested in other things than his car. So he's like, you want to ride? I'm like, well, no, I don't really want to ride, Come on, let's go. So, so we're talking and we're doing, I don't know, 20, 30, and he just nails it, and my brain didn't function properly. I mean, I was reaching and grabbing. There wasn't nothing to grab onto. It was over, man. And it was a few seconds before my brain could function properly again. I mean, with those, ain't nothing else keeping up with that car. It ain't happening unless it's another electric car, I think.
Yeah, I'm 100% in agreement. Like I said, I've rode in some supercars and stuff, and them electric cars are just super fun. And I got to sit there and watch one, getting charged at a fast charge station, and I got to kind of see the whole process of it, and just how everything, you can operate everything on your phone, and it's just really neat. Maybe one day I better get me one. Maybe one day.
I tell you what, I want to get one right now because I talked to Jimmy and he goes back and forth to Stillwater a lot, and He said it cost him about $16 to get to Stillwater from Jackson, Mississippi. You know how many miles I have driven in the last 2 years with Base Wars, man?
There ain't no telling.
My Dodge has got 120,000 on it, and they're all Base Wars miles. And the van, I probably have put 25,000 on it in half a year. Dude, I think I could buy one of those new fancy dancy Teslas and get it for free based on fuel mileage difference. Based on the miles I drive, you know.
I gotta grab something. Oh.
Any of you guys have any questions for Joe before we wrap it up?
Oh boy, watching some big technical questions come up that I don't have the answer to.
Oh yeah.
They're like, let's get them.
Right. No, nobody yet. Can Joe make me loud? I'm not loud enough. That's Bubba Brewer. He's got a Jeep. Jeep can't be loud, all right?
Well, I mean, we could see what we could do.
Yeah. Nah, he toys with I think a mid-60s, I think.
Yeah, I believe I'm familiar with the bill.
Yeah. Are you? Right. Let's see. James Alter says he needs help. I'll send him a private message and let him know that you're not a counselor. Right. I'm just kidding. Drag on James. Let's see. Oh, he says with this 8th order, he made another statement. Good thing.
I love the whole, let's do an 8th order. That way I can
right.
That way I can scratch my head.
Read it was
use a full notebook.
Yeah.
And then
show Tony Price.
What?
Yeah. Daniel Pond says, why does the screen show Tony Price?
Tony Joe Price is my name.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, I guess I didn't really write down any questions. I wish I had more. But it is almost 9. Oh, it's actually after 9. And we could play another 30 minutes worth of videos for guys if they want me to. You know,
I got one thing to share before I get off here though. This is one thing whenever you get ready.
Yeah, go ahead. We're ready.
Okay. So I've never been a believer in reading books, and I've read books, don't get me wrong, but I've never thought a book would change my life it didn't change my life. It changed the way I think about things or anything, but that book right there.
Yeah. That's
I didn't get the book at first. I went on YouTube and listened to it several nights in a row. It's about a 4-hour long. This guy that actually wrote it, he reads the book out to you basically if you go on YouTube. And it's about 4 or 5 hours long. And I listened to it several nights in a row, like over and over and over again. And every time I listened to it, I got something more out of it. Well, since I listened to this and I bought the book and I even read it just because it really opened my eyes on some things. It ain't just this book. It's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I'm not even gonna. That's the guy's name though.
Robert Kiyosaki.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna try to pronounce that last name, but I already got it all wrong. But I listen to a lot of motivational speakers and stuff like that, and it's helped me. So anybody out there that's feeling
that is a great book. That's a great.
And I always watched videos of people talking about how they watched videos and how they got motivational people that they listened to and how they got inspired. It's not until I actually stopped what I was doing and paid attention to what somebody else was saying until I actually understood it. And so if anybody out there is wanting to maybe make a change or something, find something like this, and don't listen to just one thing or just this book. Listen to multiple things and figure out what's right for you, what fits in your structure in your life.
That
And
book,
it's not a waste of time. I promise you, it'd be the best couple of hours you've ever done. So what if you don't watch a movie that night? So what if you don't get on your game system that night? Or, so what if you go to bed a little later than normal? Read the book, do something inspirational with motivation. I highly suggest it.
I listen to mine on, I travel a lot, so I download books on Apple's audiobooks or whatever. And that's how I listen to that book over and over. I probably listened to it 10 times.
The first time I listened to that speech was about a year and 1 month ago. A year and 3 weeks ago, I started Noisy Boy Labs.
Right.
And now
right.
I fully work for myself and have two businesses. And it's a struggle, but well worth it. In the end, it's going to pay off. So it is what it is. And it's not, that must be nice, because that's just not the way that works. It's a lot of hard work goes into it. It's like Mr. Billy there. Billy can tell you with Base Wars, ain't no telling how many hours he puts in every day.
And this chair right here, this chair today, I was sitting in it at 6 this morning doing some graphics and stuff. And it's 9 o'clock. I'm still sitting here. I did get up and go take a shower. I did skip lunch and breakfast, and I ate supper right before we come on this. So yeah, I bet today, I don't know, I have been sitting in this chair at least 12 hours, guaranteed. So yeah, but when you're doing something you like, it's not like it's work. There ain't nothing else I want to go do. I mean, I try to tear myself away from this to go work out. Today, that didn't happen. Will it happen tomorrow? Probably not, because I'm gonna be bowed up on some awards.
Definitely.
Just, but yeah. A lot of hours, man. It's a lot of hours for anybody with a business, much less more than one business. So real quick, I saw Bubba had asked a question about clamp classes. I don't see it now, but yeah, Bubba, we got two, a 5K stock class and a 10K extreme class for starting October the 1st. Yeah, right.
Love these little things. Smarties.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah, me too. I like them a lot. Yes. I don't know if I can share it here. If you go look on the page, I was shooting for a sponsorship for those awards. DTX come on to sponsor those. We were looking for one more, but we didn't get it. But you can go look on the page and see the starting progress of the awards. They look pretty cool. That is not the final product that you'll see there, though. What you got there, Joe? Kit Kat.
I got me some fans for my amps too.
Yeah.
Some little blower fans.
Yeah, them things are cool. They work good.
Yeah, got these from Jordan.
Yeah, that's cool.
Well, I didn't have anything, so now I better put these, like, at least it'll go up underneath the amps and make, because the heat rises kind of thing. So it at least help a little bit.
Yeah. So a lot of people don't know this, but so I think Jimmy came on first with me in Base Wars, and I think Jordan was the next one. But some people don't realize this. Probably nobody realizes this, Joe. But if Jordan hadn't come on, because I had a very busy schedule, if Jordan hadn't come on, I wouldn't have had time to branch out and bring anybody else on. Right? Because the year before Jordan came, I did 78 shows right by myself.
I won't lie to you. Jordan was the reason that I got involved with Base Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan's been a teammate of mine and a friend of mine for a very long time, and he's my, he's he's my teammate. So wherever he goes, of course, I'm gonna follow. But the first show I went to, it was such a dramatic difference. Not dramatic, such a big difference in a great way. That's all I'm gonna say. I just couldn't believe the atmosphere, how much different the atmosphere was. It was fun. I was like, am I at a base competition? You know, like this is so different. And I think it was because there wasn't all the rules and all the arguing and bickering and all that stuff. So
yeah,
definitely. So I'm glad he got on board with the org that I actually find fun and exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, and hands down, had he not come at that time, I would not have been able to branch out and grow because I'd have been doing the shows. Because I'm not going to tell them no. I'm going to schedule the shows, and I'll go elsewhere if I can, kind of thing. But yeah, so he's pretty instrumental in our growth, even though it probably don't seem like it to him now because I'm running off everywhere and he's still holding the fort down right here. But yeah, if he hadn't come on, I probably wouldn't have been able to stretch out the way I have. So that's a pretty cool thing. And you're right.
Definitely.
Our atmosphere is way different. And I tell you, man, I get nervous sometimes when I do multi-org events. That atmosphere is different. It's different.
Yes, it is.
It kind of it's not the same, and it kind of bothers me. But we don't do it because multi-org shows are get more people and but it's still a different atmosphere.
I broke my leg on a motocross dirt bike. Went to that afternoon. Listen, just real quick. Broke my leg on a motocross dirt bike. Got my leg all in a cast, all that good stuff. The competition was that night from like 7 o'clock till like 10 o'clock. It was a local audio store, Presley Audio, or had Presley Audio. Anyway, so I made it to that show with a build that the shop built for me, and with my leg broke, still on like pain medicine and all that stuff. I had some people had to literally, they took me into like the little couch into the audio building, and I literally passed out until it was my turn to run. And then everybody was asking me, "You want me to run your car for you?" I'm like, "No, help me to my car." So I got there and ran it and got my trophy. And even though I was in pain, it was the happiest of, one of the happiest moments of my audio career was that first trophy, that first competition I was at. But then versus now, and I'm not saying Base Wars, some of the other orgs, it just don't have that feeling when I walk through them or interact with them. It's kind of like a stiff environment. I can't explain it.
I know what you mean. I
like the Base Wars more relaxed feel. That's just my personal opinion. I'm not trying to talk bad about any other orgs. I'm really not. I'm glad other orgs are out there, and hey, it's their business. They do it the way they want to do it. Great. I just like the relaxed feeling of Base Wars.
Yeah, man. Me too. And I get nervous. I don't know what caused that difference in atmosphere, but I hope the changes that I'm making don't change our atmosphere. I don't think it will, but I'm nervous about it.
Well, that's why I had asked you about the rules on that. When you kind of said it was kind of be like cut and dry, and you're not going to sit there and nitpick every little thing, then I think it's going to be great. I mean, I've seen stock classes to where, if you're missing a gas cap, extreme.
And I'll tell you something. Yeah, right. I was at that show. Yeah, that's not cool. I tell you this too. We have judges for a reason, but if you go to court and you say, okay, well, I did this thing that's against the law, but I did it for a good reason or whatnot. If you say I did this, all that judge can do is find you guilty. We don't have a situation to where the judge can say, "Oh, I see what you did. Good job. Get out of here." And even in other orgs where there are rules, they have those rules that judge can't say, "Okay, well, I see you've only got an 8, but you have to compete with this guy that's got 20 million 15s because you got a wood roof." Our people are going to look and judge that vehicle and say, "Go here." So everybody says, well, what's the rules for this and this? And I'm telling you, it depends on what Jimmy looks in your vehicle and says, this is what you are. I'm not going to define the distance of a wall from a roof.
Right.
I'm just not going to do it. If Jimmy or Jordan looks in there, or any of the judges look in there and say, okay, this guy's trying to create a wall. He's only a ½ inch from the roof, but he failed miserably because there's a hole in the middle of it. Then it ain't a wall. You see what I'm saying?
I'll get it. Yeah, definitely. It's kind of like a common sense kind of thing, like the judge can look at it and
So
make a fair assessment.
Yeah. Those people that are used to those rules are like, where are the rules? Where are the rules? I'm like, what do you want to know?
The judge, the jury, and the executioner.
Right. But anyway, we just like to be common sense, and I wish we had more, not just in other orgs, but in every way. I wish people would use their common sense rather than a line written in black and white. But that's just me. That's why our org is laid back. Because
it is. It's relaxed. I really like it. I love it.
Yeah. Okay, y'all. Last chance for questions for Joe. I'll be back next week unless Jimmy be here. And if Jimmy be here, I'm probably going to take the week off. Right? No, I'm really not. But, So let's see here. That's cool. Every base horse feels like a family event. That's cool. I don't see any more questions, Joe.
I'm really glad because
Yeah,
I'm starving. I ain't gonna lie.
Right.
I ain't ate yet.
Yeah. Normally I don't get
Smarties.
but yeah, I got to eat right before we came on and I ate too much. So all right. So guys, I am going to play this exit video. You all must watch it. Right? It lasts 35 minutes, but you'll love it. I'm just kidding. It's not 35 minutes. But anyway, we will see you guys later. Y'all have fun.
Bye, Billy.